What if winter suddenly decided to hit the reset button and make everything worse? I'm looking at the weather models right now, and what I'm seeing is honestly terrifying. We're about to witness something that could redefine what bad winter means for millions of Americans. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, there's a massive Arctic air mass sitting over the Midwest like a sleeping giant. But here's the thing, it's not sleeping anymore. It's waking up. And when it does, it's going to unleash some of the most brutal cold we've seen in years across the entire eastern United States. But that's just the opening act of this meteorological nightmare. The main event? A winter storm that's about to form in the Gulf of Mexico and march up the East Coast like an unstoppable force of nature. We're talking about a system that could dump more snow in some areas than we've seen since 1989. Let me put that in perspective. 1989 was over 35 years ago. Most of you watching this weren't even born yet. This isn't just another winter storm. This is the kind of weather event that gets its own chapter in meteorology textbooks. Let me paint you a picture of what's happening right now behind the scenes. That Arctic air mass I mentioned? It's the same one that caused our devastating ice storm just last weekend. Instead of moving away like a normal weather system, it's been sitting there, recycling, getting stronger, getting angrier. It's like nature hit the replay button on winter hell. And now, it's ready for round two. Here's where this story gets really scary. As I'm tracking this system minute by minute, I can see it's about to surge southward with a vengeance. We're talking about Arctic air so intense that it's going to shatter over 100 temperature records in the next week alone. Florida, yes, Florida, is about to experience temperatures so cold that iguanas will literally freeze and fall out of trees. I know that sounds like something out of a disaster movie, but this is real life, happening in real time. But the cold is just the setup for something even more dramatic. While this Arctic blast is pushing south, moisture is streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico. When these two forces collide, and they're going to collide hard, they're going to create what meteorologists call a bomb cyclone. Now I know that term gets thrown around a lot these days, but this time it's the real deal. We're talking about a storm system that's going to intensify so rapidly that its pressure will drop to levels comparable to a Category 1 hurricane. Except, instead of bringing storm surge and flooding, it's bringing snow. Lots and lots of snow. The timeline of this disaster is already locked in. Tonight, as most of you are sleeping, light snow will start falling across Kentucky and West Virginia. That's just the appetizer. By Saturday morning, the real show begins. Picture this scenario. You wake up Saturday morning in Charlotte or Raleigh, and there's already snow on the ground. Not just a dusting, but real accumulating snow. By noon, it's coming down at 2-3 inches per hour. The wind is howling at 40 miles per hour. Visibility drops to near zero. Roads become impassable. Power lines start snapping under the weight of ice and the force of hurricane-strength winds. This is what Saturday is going to look like for millions of people across the Carolinas. But here's where this story takes an almost unbelievable turn. The same storm that's burying the Carolinas in snow is going to be so powerful that it creates something called Gulf effect snow in Florida. Yes, you heard that right. Tampa and Orlando could see actual accumulating snow for the first time since 1977. Let me repeat that because it sounds so crazy. Tampa, Florida, the city known for beaches and palm trees, might get snow this weekend. When was the last time that happened? Jimmy Carter was president. Star Wars had just come out in theaters. Most of your parents were probably in high school. The iPhone wouldn't be invented for another 30 years. People were still using rotary phones and watching TV shows on 3 channels. The meteorological mechanics behind this are fascinating and terrifying at the same time. The Arctic air is going to be so cold that when it screams across the relatively warm Gulf waters, it's going to create the same lake effect snow phenomenon that dumps feet of snow on Buffalo every winter. Except this time, it's happening in the land of Disney World and retirement communities. Think about that for a moment. Retirees who moved to Florida to escape harsh winters are about to see snow falling outside their windows. Kids who have never seen snow in their lives are about to experience their first winter wonderland. Theme parks that never close might actually have to shut down because of snow accumulation. Now, let me walk you through what the computer models are showing me for snow totals, because the numbers are staggering. The National Weather Service is being conservative, they always are, showing 5 to 10 inches across most of North Carolina and South Carolina. But the high-resolution models? They're painting a much more extreme picture. Some models are showing 12 to 18 inches across central and eastern North Carolina. In some spots near Cape Hatteras, we could be looking at close to 15 inches of snow combined with 80 miles per hour wind gusts. That's not just a winter storm. That's a full-blown blizzard with conditions that will make travel not just difficult, but literally impossible. Here's what makes this particularly dangerous. The snow is going to be light and fluffy because of how cold it is. That means it's going to drift and blow around like crazy. Roads that might look passable could have 3-foot snowdrifts around the next curve. Visibility could drop to less than a quarter mile in seconds. I've seen veteran storm chasers with decades of experience refuse to go out in conditions like this. When professionals who live for extreme weather say it's too dangerous, you know you're dealing with something extraordinary. But the snow totals are just part of the story. The wind is what's going to make this storm truly dangerous. We're talking about sustained winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour inland, with gusts up to 80 miles per hour along the coast. For context, that's stronger than many tropical storms that make national headlines. Imagine trying to drive in a blizzard with tropical storm force winds. That's what Saturday is going to feel like across much of the southeast. And here's the kicker that makes this story even more tragic. Over 100,000 people are still without power from last weekend's ice storm. Nashville hasn't been above freezing in days. There's still ice covering everything from power lines to trees to roads. And now, we're about to hit them with another Arctic blast that could be even more intense than the first one. It's like Mother Nature looked at the devastation from last weekend and said, "Hold my beer, watch this." The human cost of this weather pattern is already devastating. The death toll from our previous winter storm has exceeded 100 people. 100 families who lost someone they loved because of extreme weather. And now, we're about to put millions more people in similar danger. This is why I do what I do. This isn't about getting clicks or views or going viral. This is about trying to save lives by making sure people understand just how serious this situation is. When I see numbers like this on the weather models, when I see a pattern this dangerous developing, I lose sleep. I worry about every person in the path of these storms. The cold that's coming behind this storm is going to be unlike anything the Southeast has experienced in recent memory. We're talking about single-digit temperatures in Atlanta, below freezing in Miami, and wind chills that could make it feel like minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit in places that usually consider 40 degrees cold. This cold isn't just uncomfortable. It's life-threatening. Pipes will freeze and burst, causing thousands of dollars in damage to homes that aren't built for this kind of weather. Cars won't start because batteries die in extreme cold. Heating systems will fail under the strain. People without adequate shelter or heating could literally freeze to death. Emergency shelters across the Southeast are already preparing for what could be the largest influx of people seeking warmth that they've ever seen. Hospitals are stocking up on supplies to treat frostbite and hypothermia cases. Utility companies are bringing in crews from across the country to deal with the inevitable power outages. And the worst part? This isn't a one-and-done situation. The weather pattern that's causing all this chaos is locked in place like a broken record player. We're looking at potentially weeks more of this brutal cold, with at least 1 or 2 more Arctic blasts expected before the end of next week. It's like winter looked at the calendar, saw it was still January, and decided to make up for lost time all at once. The satellite imagery of this storm is going to be absolutely incredible to watch. When this thing reaches full intensity Saturday night, it's going to look exactly like a hurricane on the satellite loop. Same spiral structure, same intense core, same massive size. The only difference is that instead of bringing storm surge, it's bringing snowdrifts. Storm chasers are already heading toward the Carolinas to document this event, and honestly, I'm worried about their safety. This isn't the kind of storm you want to be outside in. Visibility near zero, hurricane force winds, temperatures below zero with the wind chill. It's a recipe for disaster. The economic impact of this storm is going to be staggering. Airlines are already canceling thousands of flights. Schools are closing for days in advance. Businesses are shutting down. The supply chain disruptions alone could affect grocery stores and gas stations for weeks. But beyond the economic numbers, beyond the statistics and forecasts, this is about real people facing real danger. Elderly people without heat, families with young children, people who are already struggling financially and can't afford to stock up on emergency supplies. For those of you in the path of this storm, please take this seriously. Stock up on supplies now while you still can. Make sure you have adequate heating that doesn't depend on electricity. Check on your elderly neighbors. Bring your pets inside. And whatever you do, don't try to drive in this. This is the kind of weather event that people talk about for decades afterward. The kind of storm that gets a name and gets remembered. The winter storm of 2026 that changed everything. And it's happening right now, whether we're ready for it or not. Stay safe, stay warm, and stay inside. This is going to be one wild ride that none of us will ever forget.